You're in
You
the
all are
air.
going to realize how many times you say real quick during the course of a meeting, during the course of a session now that I'm on.
Exactly.
All right, come on. All right. Shh.
Negative K, nothing further. Just take care of me in the corner. That's a direct order. Do it now.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, March 13th, 2025. We are roll call, black, white, and blue for better relations. I'm here with a few of my friends. I have D. Schoon with us. I have Tyrone with us. I have JT. I have AC. I have Derek. I have Mark. I have Melba. I have CJ, Rich, Jerry, Cheech, and Dave. And our newest panelist we have is Will Quick, retired lieutenant from the police department of North Carolina. He has joined us. He's been with us for long over a year as one of our guests with on Facebook Live, but now he's joined the panel, and we're so glad to welcome Will Quick with us. Will, you have anything to say? I'll let you say what you got to say to the people that may be
Thank
listening
you
to us.
thank you for inviting me and having me on the show. I'm looking forward to a long time for us to sit back and chop up some real important issues to help people better understand exactly what's going on in the relationship between law enforcement and the community.
Thank you so much, Will. I just want you guys to know I had an opportunity to talk to Will, and he's real serious about relationships between the police and the community. So you will hear another perspective by our new guest. So right now we're going to have a moment of silence, and we want to remember the detective from Newark Police Department, New Jersey, that was shot and killed. We want to remember him, and then anyone else that has passed away.
Claro.
Thank you so much, D. Thank you so much. We're praying for those families and those police departments that lost officers in the line of duty. At this time, we're going to have our disclaimer coming from Cheech and our statement of purpose coming from Rich.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started, we wanted to go over a couple of things. First off, we want to let you know that any statements made by members of roll call are the opinions of each individual. They're not intended to be legal advice, recommendation, or suggestion. Remember that the laws change from village to village, city to city, state to state. So please consult with your local police department or a local attorney for any legal advice. Also, once in a while, we do display videos or photographs. We use these to spark our discussions and conversations. These videos and photographs are not the property of Roll Call. We get them from social media, so everybody out there has access to it, either through TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, things like that. Also, they're not intended to offend anybody. If we display one that may be offensive or graphic in nature, we will give you a notice ahead of time, so you don't see it. Also, we want to let you know that the language used by members of Roll Call is very spontaneous. It's uncensored. Everybody here speaks from the heart. We speak our truth. It's not intended to offend anybody. You will see that even among us, we might not agree on some things, and we might discuss it, but we never take it personal. And we hope that you don't either. That's it. On to Rich for a statement of purpose.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. We're glad you're here. We are Roll Call Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations. We are a pro-law enforcement group. We're against racism. We're for equitable policing and Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cheech and Rich. Rich Melba said, don't be trying to steal her job.
No, she's got it. I'm just backing her up.
Yep, that's it. But we're here. Let me just say this. First of all, we're praying for you, JT, and Orlando. So it's good to see JT back with us. If you guys only knew, JT is he's all right. The Lord is with him. So thank you, JT. Praying for you and your wife,
all for your
Orlando.
prayers. Thank you all.
You're welcome. Cheech, we're still praying for you and your wife, Anna, praying that you both are healing and getting better, and especially you, Cheech, for what you're anticipating. AC and Jeanette, we're praying for the both of you. Last week, AC was at the homegoing celebration of his mother-in-law, so that's why he has not been with us for a couple of weeks, because he's been a good husband, hanging out with his wife and her family, which is his family as well. CJ, it's good to see you. Where is CJ? Oh, there she is. Good to see you. We're still praying for you. And Melba, we're praying for you. We're praying for you, and we're praying for Jamel as well. Jamel will be with us in and out for the next couple of weeks, but he's taking care of business. He's not sick. He's not ill. He's taking care of business. Just want us to know that. And then for those who may be just joining us, we want to welcome our newest panelist, Will Quick. He's also from that great state of North Carolina, along with Tyrone and Cheryl and AC and Derek and who else is in North Carolina? Cheech. You know, Derek, turn your camera on.
I'm trying.
You struggling, bro?
So we want to welcome Will Quick with us, and I'm gonna give Will another opportunity to say something to you, because Will was always on your side. Now he's over on this side, so I just want him to just say hello to you guys, or whatever he may want to say.
I'm excited to be a part of the group, and thank all of you all for reaching out and inviting me and embracing me to come in. Looking forward to spirited conversation, and hopefully there's some folks that are watching that'll help to shape some reasonable perspective about some very serious issues we're going to go over.
All right. And so, like I said, Will's a retired lieutenant, but we don't really address anyone by titles. We pretty much address each other by name, because the highest ranking person on our Zoom is Mark Matthews, who's a deputy chief. Then we had lieutenants, sergeants. So we're pretty good. And you have the preacher, and they still call me Rev, but I think that's just short. But we try to keep it
though.
Yeah, we try. We really try to we try to keep it very personal as much as we can, so no one feels any different. So thank you for joining us today. Before I go forward, Dave, your favorite viewer, Sister Ruth Caffrey from my church, is she's on. So she's just anticipating, waiting to hear what her boy Dave has to say today.
I'm fired up. I ain't getting no sleep. I'm fired up.
And listen, that's now the oldest member of my church, because the oldest member just passed away at 101. Sister Ruth Caffey is in her 90s. I think she's 95 or 96 years old. And let me tell you right now, all her senses are there. She was there on Sunday for our church service, stayed through the whole service. But one thing she wants, when we have roll call, she wants to hear what Dave has to say. No, she don't want to hear what her pastor had to say. She want to hear what Dave's got to say.
Put some respect on my girl's name.
We got Donald Coleman. We got Beverly Wells. Thank you for joining. Renee Henderson, Derek, and I, along with Jamel, has known, well, they've known her longer than I have. Matter of fact, Derek is the one that introduced me to Renee Henderson. So we thank you for Renee and Beverly Wells. Thank you for joining. And then we have Isabel Jordan. That's Rich's wife. We have my wife that's on there. What else we got? Eric Jones is on there. Thank you, Eric. Eric's been joining us for a few years as well. He went to high school with us. So thank you so much, Eric, for joining us. Let us get started with our first video with the 14-year-old that shot and killed a Newark police detective. Young guy. I think he had 5 years on the job. And life is just taken away just like that by a 14-year-old. So D, go ahead and lead us into this.
Yeah, this gentleman we highlighted during our moment of silence. He was the first picture up. Newark, New Jersey, 14-year-old, and some other guys were taken into custody. He was part of a task force. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's take a look.
Right now, a search for answers in Newark after 2 police officers were shot, and one of them died. Good evening at 11 o'clock. I'm Mike Marza.
And I'm Sade Betterenwell. We're hearing the shooter is just 14 years old. Right now, you're looking at live pictures from University Hospital, where the other officer is being treated at this hour.
Live on the scene with the breaking details of what went down, Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo. Anthony.
Well, guys, that's right. The sources say the suspected shooter, just 14 years old, he also was apparently shot in this incident. We're told that the shooter was with a group of people inside of a McDonald's and a White Castle just minutes before this apparent shootout with police. We're taking you down the block here towards Broadway, where all of this action happened. You see the prosecutor's vehicle still here on scene. And as details come together on what led up to this deadly shooting of a Newark police officer, the Newark police force tonight is heartbroken. One after another, Newark police cars raced to the scene, trying desperately to rush 2 officers to the hospital. Both had just been shot. Those who live close by heard a barrage of bullets.
It was 10 shots, I want to say like the whole clip, basically.
I just hear the gunshots, and I thought it was fireworks because people are always doing their fireworks. Then I see a bunch of police come.
Police locked down this intersection in the area of Carteret Street and Broadway. The investigation appeared centered between a McDonald's and a White Castle. A backpack appeared to be part of the evidence. Police consoled each other at the scene.
There's no words to describe what happened. It shouldn't happen. People should feel safe to be out here, and for someone with a badge to die in the line of duty, it's a tragedy.
The Essex County Prosecutor's Office says 2 Newark police officers were shot at 6:37 this evening. Officers gathered at University Hospital. Sources tell Eyewitness News one of those officers died. Sources say the suspected shooter, just 14 years old, taken into custody along with multiple suspects. The shooting sending shockwaves through the community.
We only a few blocks from where major stuff be going on.
Governor Murphy releasing this statement that reads in part, "This is a rapidly developing situation. Please pray for these officers, their families, and all our men and women in uniform who put their lives on the line to keep us safe." Another live look right now at the active investigation that will span into the night. Sources say, again, the suspected 14-year-old shooter was also shot in this incident. His condition is unclear right now. It is not clear if all the suspects being sought in this incident are in custody, but again, we're told multiple people were taken into custody. Again, one Newark police officer killed tonight in this incident, another injured. The New York State PBA says it is heartbroken that one of their own was killed in the line of duty. They also say that other officer who was shot and injured is in critical condition. ATF and other federal investigators are also on scene tonight. We're live in Newark. Anthony Carlo, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
So tragic, Anthony.
A traffic stop, August.
Right. I don't know. Now I saw something different before, but I got Dave, Ty, and Derek.
Yeah, first of all, man, I am truly saddened and condolences to the family and the police department of Newark, because we work with them a lot. And I know those guys are overworked and stressed, man. And let me tell you something, man. Newark has been a war zone for years. Newark and Jersey City. So those cops, man, hats off to them, man. But I was thinking, man, not in this case, because I don't know the circumstances, what led up, who called, or what happened, or maybe somebody passed a young boy the gun. Older kids do that shit in New York. They get the girl or the young kid to hold the gun for them. I don't know. I didn't read into it. But a lot of us, man, I would say a lot of us, our brothers and sisters in uniform, they think young children, 14-year-old, 12-year-olds, and even young girls can't kill anybody. I was a homicide detective, and I had a kid kill his own brother. 12 years old, killed his little infant brother. You know what I mean? And it was like nothing happened. He thought it was just a play game. Young kids, young girls, they will kill you too. And a lot of us, back when we were roaming the streets, man, we took it for granted. Oh, that's a young kid over there. Let's just grab shit. Then you pull out a 45 out of his waistband. And he's out there at night in Newark, New Jersey, probably with a group of older kids. Okay, want to be, down here. We had a girl running for county exec here. She used to be the attorney general here in Prince George's. She said, man, she tells the young kids now, you do big boy crimes, you do big boy time. Fuck all the bullshit. That's what she says on TV. Mm-hmm. All the carjackers down here, 15-year-olds carjacking seniors, man. Carjacked a fucking FBI agent and had a gun in a pocketbook. I'm just tired of this crime and this nursing. What I'm trying to tell you is, okay, we're not guidance counselors. We're not mind readers. We're not any kind of counselors, okay? We're law enforcement. And unfortunately, a lot of people think we're supposed to be mommy and daddy too. We can't. And if that mentality keeps up, it's going to be more of this shit. And I'm just tired of it, man. I'm sick of hearing these want to be tough guy shit from these young boys. None of them can fight worth a damn. They get their asses taken from them. But yes, everybody wants to get that pistol. You know what I mean? No, down here in Maryland, soft as cotton. Make a tampon look hard. But they strap like I don't know what, man. I mean, come on, man. Talking shit. Go to the store. They talk shit. I turn around, the guy at 112 pounds. I told him, man, you don't get the fuck out of my face, I'll slap you with my nuts. Get out of here.
And we're off.
Anyway, I'm done, man. Y'all know where I'm at. I'm heated, bro. I'm heated.
Yeah, Tyrone, Ty, go ahead.
I don't know how to follow that up, but I'll do the best I can. Greetings, everybody. What struck a nerve to me, I didn't realize the person was so young, man. And so sad, and other juvenile detectives on this podcast with us will attest that these young kids don't realize the finality of what they do. They don't understand that the minute you pull that trigger, your life as you know it is over. Everything is different from that point on. I mean, I've literally have made custodial arrest for kids 14, 13 years old. One kid set a garbage can on fire that caused the house to burn down and killed everybody inside. And he really thought he was going home. He thought it was like a video game, so I don't get to restart or replay. It was like really, so I said, nah, man, your life, you're gonna miss senior prom. You're gonna miss your first 3 years of college, probably. I mean, it was really hard, and they really don't understand. I'm not sure how we fail as a society, or if it's the instantaneous gratification of video games. There's a bunch of studies and things that I'm not privy to, but I'm sure have been done. But there's something that has it. They can't see past 5 minutes of their life. The next 5 minutes. They thought for 1 second about 10 years from now, they probably wouldn't do half the thing they do. And it just was a harsh reality that I experienced as a juvenile detective. I'm sorry. Mel, you can attest that, can't you, Mel? All right, guys.
Thanks, Ty. Eric says hello. Eva says good afternoon, everyone. I guess that's CJ talking about good afternoon, everyone. Coming up as roll call.
We'll fix that.
And Chanel
I don't know.
Donald.
I don't know. I got you. I got you, Will. Give me 1 second. I got Donald Coleman says, don't forget Patterson, New Jersey, Dave. It used to be bad there. Isabel said to Dave, wow, speak your mind, LOL. My daughter Chanel says, hey, Dad.
Hey, Chanel.
Claudine Hall is watching. Renee Henderson says, afternoon all. Okay. Will, and that's where we do it, Will. If you have something that's urgent, and we got hands up, but if you got something that's urgent, throw your hand up and I'll try to recognize you. But go ahead, you got it now. Oh,
Well,
and Kyle, wait a minute, Kyle and Jim has joined us. All right.
Hey.
Kyle and Jim has joined us.
What's happening, Kyle and Jim? I don't know that I would call it urgent, but I would gamble to say that all of us probably thought to ourselves, a 14-year-old, and what I think a lot of the public at large doesn't understand, we want to believe in the innocence of certain people with certain, a child, an elderly person, in a lot of cases, a woman, but us discounting their capacity for violence, particularly in unknown circumstances, could result in just what happened here.
Exactly.
I think all of us are probably the prevailing question is why, and unfortunately, we don't have enough details about what happened right now. But the lives that are impacted with regards to that 14-year-old, he's done. It's a wrap. It's toast. Unless there's something behind the scenes through this investigation that comes up, otherwise, it's a wrap for him at 14 years old. And to have taken a life, even if somehow he comes out this, not taking as hard a pinch behind it, that's still, you're always going to be attached to taking the life of a police officer at 14 years old. I just wish more of our civilian population would take a second to understand the totality of the circumstances and the consequences of action, and understand that the nature of the work that we do and the ones that are still doing it, there's such unpredictability that trying to see them as a 14-year-old, or trying to see them as an elderly person, or trying to see them as something other than, I hate to say prototypical, but prototypical offender, we can't afford not to see the obvious things that are present. And I'm real thankful for the officers. We had this situation last week. The killer of an officer was taken into custody. We actually commented about how impressive it was under the circumstances that the officers were able to do that without harming him. So I'm thankful that when this comes down, the fact that he was taken into custody rather than shot, because we all know if the 14-year-old was dead after this, it would be a whole nother uproar going on. It would be so much more outreach for the 14-year-old and presumption that law enforcement had done something wrong.
All right. Thank you, Will. As you can tell, he's retired law enforcement. For Jim and Kyle, who's joined us. We got Will Quick, who just joined us. You saw it in the chat, most likely, but on the edge, I want you to know that Jim is retired lieutenant with the Hempstead Police Department. Kyle is former bureau chief for the district attorney's office, or assistant bureau chief, one of the chiefs for the for the district attorney's office, and also deputy county executive for the county of Nassau, and New York. So that's Will Quick. He's retired lieutenant. From which department again?
Carborough.
Carborough. I got to get that right
Carborough.
because
Yep. Think of
it's
a
like
car and just borough on the
Goldsboro.
backside.
All right, Carborough, North Carolina. So
There you
and
go.
he was introduced to us by Tyrone Green. We got I guess you invited Burl McMillan.
That's my sister.
Yeah, that's your sister.
That's my sister.
Okay,
Well,
hey.
your sister said, "Hi, Will. So glad I could tune in." You didn't say hi to the rest of us, Miss
What about the
Burl.
rest of us, Burl? Come on now.
Now I know she was raised better than that.
Don't leave us out.
But I am a little brother, and I got 3 older sisters and 2 older brothers, so I'm the youngest. So
All
she's
right.
probably a little bit tunnel vision on that.
Listen, I ain't mad at her because my wife is on there, and Rich wife is on there. Let me get to Derek, D, and Cheech.
Yeah, I want to extend my condolences to all 3 families. And obviously the one officer is injured and not killed, but him and his family are going through some things. The families of the young man that did the shooting and the officer that got killed are going through some things. Will touched a little bit on it. This kid's life will never be the same. You grow up from a little tyke, a toddler, thinking I want to be XYZ when I grow up. You pull the trigger and kill somebody, all of that is out the window. His life is completely done. Whatever dreams and aspirations he had, they are now out the window. And another thing Will touched on was normally when we hear about the ages, they're brought up in light of what the officer did to them. When the officers perceived to have done something wrong against them. We usually hear it like from their attorneys once they've been arrested, injured, or killed. And obviously, some of these young people are very, very dangerous. They're very, very dangerous. They don't care about human life. They damn sure don't care about police. And, him shooting police might be a feather in his cap. And I don't think things like that are covered enough. Some of these young kids are very dangerous. And, obviously all of us here that were law enforcement, we made it through entire careers. And I won't say we all made it through unscathed, but we all came out the back end healthy and strong. And that's by the grace of God. It's not because we were like these superheroes or we were tactically sound every time we did anything, because you could be tactically sound and you can still get killed.
Yes.
Yeah, we all came out the back end by the grace of God, and we're here on this show, and I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful that all of you made it out just like I did. And for all the people that are out there still fighting the crime, be careful with these youngsters because they're dangerous.
Thank you so much, Derek. And I know we talked about the youth, and it did come up in the conversation already, but women too.
Yeah,
men would slide that gun right over to the female. She put it in her purse or put it down her crotch, and you think that okay, she's safe. She's safe. We'll put her over there. She's the one holding the weapon.
All the time.
Yeah. Yep. And so we got to be careful of all of that. Let me get D and Cheech.
All right, 2 quick things I wanted to say. The first thing is condolences to the family and welcome, Will. We're definitely going to appreciate you. So you understand, this officer, I understand, was a part of a gun suppression unit. I'll tell you what that is. They partner with our federal brothers and sisters. I believe this one was the ATF, and that's their job, to take guns off the street. I haven't been a part of one of those units for about 3 years. This is what you're constantly thinking about. Now, most of a couple other people in the room said when it's a 14-year-old, when it's a female, when it's a baby, when it's an older lady, when it's an older man, we tend to take things a little different. We're human. We said we were human. We tend to take a tick off. And I'm here to tell you that's why we get shot. Because it's a 14-year-old, it's a kid. I got nephews that age. I got, little kids I mentor that age. I talk to them. I don't shoot them. I talk to them. And it takes you that extra second, and a lot of times that's gonna something. that's going to make us lose our lives. Here's the thing. We think of guns in I want to keep my guns. I don't want to get Jim started because we'll be here all night. But everybody wants their guns. But there's a part of guns that everybody in here that owns a gun, myself included, feel a little responsibility when it comes to this. I used to research where those guns came from. They're not stolen off of a truck in a movie. They're out of somebody's house, somebody's car, someplace where they weren't properly secured. I don't want to put the blame on anybody else, but there's the gun responsibility. So my gun doesn't fall into the hands of a 14-year-old and ends up ending the life of one of my law enforcement brothers and sisters. That's the way we got to think when we think of guns. Not just my right, I got to have it. We got to think of it in its totality. Last thing I want to say is I took one of my little babies that's now a trooper. They want guns now. We got to get guns. And I was explaining to her that your life is now changed. She was like, what are you talking about? I got to know where that thing is. I know where I can sit here, chapter and verse, tell you where each one is, where it is, where it's locked up. One I'm looking at right now. You got to know your life changes. You got to know where that gun is. I want everybody to think of gun possession like this. I talked shows ago about my gun lump. It's actually a part of my body because of where I carry my gun that changed. And it's never going to change back. My understanding is, this is the way you got to think of guns more than just this little thing. Some of the guys said it. Our young people don't think guns are real. They think guns are shoot them up, fall down, I get 3 more lives. Shoot them up, fall down, I get 3 more lives. That's not the way guns are. We got to understand. Guns are a finality. That's it. Over. Your life is over. This 14-year-old's life is over. That police officer's life is over. His children, his wife, forever changed. And here's the thing. Everybody involved in that shooting's life is forever changed. So when we think pulling that gun, you think of it in a monomaniacal way. I'm just looking here. You got to think of the big picture. And maybe take that second tick, that third tick, not to pull it out, or as our 14-year-olds, not to use it. That's not a fight. That's not a beef between gangs we take out and shoot. I'm old school. I got some of my old school friends. We put the hands on, licked our wounds, and some of us are friends. Come on, some of us had fights on the court. Come on, where y'all at? We had fights where we thought we hated each other, and now we break bread because we have a chance because of the way we decide to handle our differences to go on. So that's the way I want you to think of it. That gun is not going to give you another chance. That gun it's over. It's over for you. And outside with a gun, you're a cool 14-year-old. Cheech, help me out. Inside, you're open prey. You're new meat.
That's right.
That's right.
Keep that in. I'm new meat.
Fresh
That's what you
meat.
are. Just call yourself
Fresh
new
meat.
meat. And you have a
Fresh
different
meat.
experience every night. And that's it. I'm done.
All right, listen, we did have Wally Gray on. I don't know if he's still on, but Wally Gray is retired supervisor, right? I forgot which was this.
State police sergeant.
State police sergeant. Thank you for joining, Wally. Cheech.
Yeah, a lot of stuff got touched on, but I might rile Jim up because I was going to touch on the guns. Down here, they just changed the law where at 16 you're getting charged as an adult because they're getting tired of all the crimes. They don't know what to do with the amount of crimes that these kids are committing. It's just ridiculous. But the accessibility of guns is just, I know we've beaten this, a couple of times on here, especially after incidents like this, but how easy it is for the public for these kids to get access to guns is just ridiculous. And I don't know what to say anymore, what to do. You know, where's the outrage, from our politicians when things like this happen? And still they don't talk about the gun laws and trying to fix them, and trying to control the access of weapons a lot better. This is something that affects the entire community. I mean, all of you guys said it earlier. The trauma is not just that officer's family; it's his whole department. It's the community where he patrolled. It's the family and parents of the kid. It affects everybody all around. The ripple effect is and these kids don't realize the effect that they're having on everybody after something like this. So that's my thing is with the guns, man. I'm getting sick and tired of seeing these youngsters being able to even possess a gun. It's just crazy.
All right, thank you, Cheech. In your state, it's so easy to go get a gun anyway. Just walking in and buy one. Let me go with Mark and CJ.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. A lot of times these kids are actually more dangerous than the adults because the adults sometimes they have the gun on them and they're like, oh, if I pull this gun, this is going to happen. Kids don't think that way. You think of your average kid at home, 14 years old, they're not thinking of consequences. You tell them what to do. If it's not what they want, they're not going to do it. They're not thinking of the consequences until they have to deal with it. So that's the one thing. Two, do you guys remember, I think it was like last year, we had a video of a girl in the bathroom with her friend, and then they were doing TikTok or whatever, and the girl was holding the gun up. I don't know where she got it from, but she was holding the gun up like a toy, and she's so interested in making a TikTok that she pulled the trigger, and it went off, and it blew up her hair. If you can Google it if you want, but it's that scary. They do not understand the repercussions of their actions until it's too late.
Yes, sir, Mark. Right
I remember that.
on.
I remember that.
CJ?
I just want to mention from our viewer, Beverly Halston Wells, states that on the news this morning, it was said that the 14-year-old cannot be tried as adults in New Jersey. Before we comment, Donald Coleman continues to say that he would like some of these politicians, especially in DC, to watch this show. They could learn a lot from you guys and girls, but knowing some of them, they probably wouldn't want to hear this.
So true, so true, so true. Go ahead, Dave. You're on mute, Dave.
I said they get a lot of money from the gun lobby. And by the way, now no person on here, you don't hear nothing on the news. The problem is gun straw purchases. They supply the cartels in Mexico, and they drop off them guns in every inner city up north. Okay, no, they are not regulated straw purchases. Everybody's going looking at the gun shop and the gun stores, but the gun purchases, they can get a tractor trailer full and drop them off any way they want. You all remember that movie where Steven Seagal went to get Screwface and all of them? That was a gun. That was a straw purchase he bought the guns from. They even got them in the movies. Okay, there is no regulation for them. In Chicago, guns are illegal. In Illinois, they're not. Outside of Chicago. Straw purchases, man.
Wow.
Guns are illegal in Mexico. Straw purchases. Meet them at the border. Here you go. What you need?
Straw purchases.
I just want to explain that. You want to explain that, Dave, or you want me to get it?
Go ahead, brother.
All right.
Go ahead.
First, what happens is the gun ends up in the inner city, but it's bought in Georgia, North Carolina,
right?
At the pawn shop, at the gun dealer. They can buy them freely. There's no background checks. So somebody will buy it, and then because you can charge up to 3 times the price up here, they'll just sell it to someone and get 3 times the price, and it'll end up on the streets of Newark, as this one did, or New York, or any inner city street. So the straw purchase, when we say straw, it's just the person that's purchasing it ends up in the hands of a bad guy, and it may go 3 or 4 different stops. And that purchase is legal. I want you to be clear. It's not a stolen. It's not, could be, but for the most part, they're purchased legally. Go ahead. Go ahead. AC, you got something?
No, you got Jerry. AC, go ahead, then Jerry. We get to Jerry.
I'm going to say, I don't want to mislead everybody. The purchases oftentimes are legal purchases. It's not illegal. There are background checks to say you can purchase many guns at one time or at different times. And you can have hundreds of guns. Some can go missing, lost, whatever. But they all start off legal.
Legally.
Okay. Well, you guys just helped me out because I didn't know what Dave was talking about. Let me get Jerry, and I got you, Will.
Yeah, I didn't know what the straw purchase was either, but I also wanted to say when you were talking about this whole situation, Tyrone mentioned the fact that it's every possibility that this young kid who shot him, someone else may have handed a gun. We don't know the details, but I didn't even consider the fact that somebody could have just handed a gun to him, and now he's the fall guy for the shooting. The other thing that I wanted to say is when they were actually doing the clip and talking to the residents, I was struck by the young child who said she heard what could have been several gunshots, and it was so a matter of fact the way she responded to the sound of the discharge of the weapon. I mean, because people do it all the time, and she said it. It was like so a matter of fact, which is scary to me. That's it.
Okay. Who do I have? I had Will. Okay, go ahead, Dave. And I got Will.
Yeah, real quick. The media should never put a microphone in front of that young child like that. The media should never have put that microphone in front of that young child to interview her.
Nope.
Never have. They could have jeopardized that girl. You don't know all the rest of these people got caught or not who was with this kid.
Yeah.
And their kids' parents, they interviewed a little girl. How old was she? About 10?
Maybe.
12.
You got
maybe.
no right doing that. You don't put a microphone on a child like that. They do a TV interview. Go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're all right. Will?
Given the limited information that we know about what actually happened other than the outcome, obviously the focus is how the guns wind up in their hands, and we kind of hit on that a little bit. I was doing I watched a 60-minute special. I guess it's probably been a little while ago. I may have actually looked it up online, but they were talking about a gun shop, I think in Arizona, that they were targeting, knowing that they were allowing straw purchases and the guns were being carried back across the border to Mexico. Now, mind you, this was what was interesting. For all of the negative things that are said about Mexico, the crime and everything, do you realize that Mexico will only sell guns from a singular location, secure location that requires extensive background? It's not like they have gun dealers all around and through Mexico. They got one secure government location that they sell guns from, and they keep track of who has what gun. And it didn't stipulate as far as how many guns you have to buy, but considering the formality that's involved, I'm pretty sure they keep track of that, especially with the cartels and everything. Saying all that to say this, guns are big business in this country. Just like drugs are big business in this country. Everybody wants to talk about people supplying drugs. Well, if it wasn't a market for it, it wouldn't be coming here. What do you know that nobody wants to steal sales? Unfortunately, guns and drugs are a big market here in this country. And unless and until we really want to focus on curbing the market for it here, we're going to continue to see these sort of issues over and over and over. And then we're going to see a disproportionate demographic that's impacted by these sort of things as well.
All right. Before I get to you, CJ, guys, that's your hand up, right? Okay, give me 1 second. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, CJ, because you're probably ready to do what I was ready to do.
Which was just head to the panel of the viewers, where Richard Bowen states outrage from politicians. Where's the outrage from the community, from the men? Only woe is us. People think a politician will solve a gun problem. And secondly, we have a comment from Pamela Frost Shirley, who says, hello, everyone. Hi, Cousin Ty. Marcus, my friend, says hi all.
Thank you, CJ. That's Rich cousin. Thank you so much. But
You ain't right.
You know I like messing with you, Rich.
I know.
Go ahead, Jim. I see your hand.
Yeah, I promise I won't get into my gun control kick. I just want to back up what Will was saying. You know, when Trump started his anti-Mexico stuff with the caravans and all that, the president of Mexico is on record of stating, well, stop sending your guns into my country. So, yeah, it's America and guns. I mean, they're being shipped into Mexico. Mexico does have strict gun laws, and they do track their guns. But guns are coming across the border the other way from the United States into Mexico.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I think I had Ty and Rich, or Rich and Ty. Who did I have? Looked like it's Rich and Ty. Rich and Ty.
Rich. Good. Get him, Rich.
Yeah, thanks, man. To answer Jerry's question, about the kid, whether the kid did the shooting or not, and the gun was handed to him, because a lot of times, the older people in the group will hand it off to the young kid, because the kid won't be charged as an adult in these crimes. So just like the boys on the corner will be young, if they get caught with the drugs, it won't be a harder penalty like it would be for adult. But I imagine any cop worth the assault, the investigators would do a GSR test on the kid right away, so they don't, so they know exactly that the kid actually fired the weapon or not. So hopefully that was done, and this can confirm that the kid actually did the shooting if that took place.
GSR?
Yeah, gunshot residue.
Okay, because you got civilians listening and watching. So we gotta make sure I know we're like comfortable and rolling on, but there's others like Jerry be raising eyebrows like, what? Okay, thank you, Rich. Ty?
Yeah, man, I went and bought another 9mm this week, AC. And you never beat AC your competition. You'll never guess why I went and bought it, because it had the largest selection. Academy Sports.
Academy Sports. Yep.
Academy Sports. I walked in there, I lost my mind in a good and bad way. I like guns. I buy guns, but I mean, I couldn't find this particular gun anywhere. And I went to Academy Sports to buy some golf balls. I went to buy golf balls, AC. I walked across the golf balls to the other side, and it was hunting, and they had a full showcase of, and it was disturbing because I got a carry permit, and all they wanted to see was my driver's license, bro.
Yeah, carry permit don't count.
They don't care about the carry, none of that stuff anymore, man. Just
welcome to North Carolina.
Wait 5 minutes, I'll give you a gun, man.
Right. Welcome to North Carolina.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and for those out there that don't know, Academy Sports is similar to like a Modell's.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can get whatever gun you want at a regular sporting goods store here.
I mean,
in North Carolina.
A nice variety of guns, man.
Yeah.
AC, what was your statement? You were saying something.
I was just saying, the chain stores, like in North Carolina, you got a carry permit. They don't give a background check, but in the chain stores they do background checks anyway, just in case. So,
and Pamela, thanks for saying hello.
You're out.
I'm sorry, AC. And Pam, thanks for saying hello to everybody. Don't get me in trouble like
Will's sister did. Before you got your cousin Tyrone. Thank you for saying hello to us.
Yeah, exactly.
I better be very careful, because my daughter said hello, Daddy.
And that's it.
She didn't say hello to none of y'all.
Nobody. Me and Dirt were there when she was born.
Will, did your hand go up?
It is, and I'm sorry. I know I got them popped up for this the third time, but we were talking about the changing or the adjusting of reasonable gun reform. I hate gun control, because you put that control word in there, people lose their mind. But gun reform. So we all know that really hit a fever pitch when Obama got in the office. And about that time, I had changed agencies, and the agency that I was going to, let's just say the culture was, shall we say, more conservative. I'm in a conversation with some of these guys I work with, and they are legitimately buying into the rhetoric, and they're actually talking about going into their 401ks to purchase ARs to flip like you flip a car or flip a house. Because with President Obama in office, the cost of the AK, I'm sorry, not the AKs, the ARs, the cost would sure enough go up, and you could turn around and flip your investment. And as I'm sitting up here thinking to myself, these are cats in the business. I'm like, you might trust the next person that you sell it to, but do you trust the next person after that they sell it to? And then the gun winds up coming back to you. And to hear them say the things that they were saying, and I don't know that any of them did it, but the fact that they would even verbalize it and think it was troubling to me. And if that was in a small agency I was in, I can only imagine how many other folks, because I'd be willing to bet you, if by definition of straw purchase, it's probably some cats in blue that might be responsible for that too.
But you said possibly? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be polite.
You've been very cautious here. Mark. I'm sorry. CJ and Mark. I'm sorry. Hold on, Mark. One quick one.
No, because I just wanted to interject right quick, Mark. Our friend Marcus, of course, says not just Mexico. So just while we're speaking on the gun laws and all, he's saying it's not just Mexico.
Thank you, CJ. See, CJ is helping me out so much right now. I don't even have to look over there now because CJ got that on lock. Go ahead, Mark.
I just wanted to warn Tyrone. Tyrone, you said you went in and you purchased a gun, and Jim started writing down something. So I just want to give you.
Listen, I think we all know how Jim feels about these guns, and what'd you call it, Will? Not gun control, but gun what?
Gun reform.
Gun reform. Okay, not control, gun reform. Did your hand go up?
No.
Okay, all right. Listen, if that's it, we can go to the next video, which is the deadly shooting of Otis French. That's the next one, right?
Sir. All right, so this takes us to Bay Minette, Alabama. We're talking about guns, and let's take a look at this.
A traffic stop, August 20th, 2022. Otis French Jr. is pulled over by Bay Minette police officer Brandon Thompson.
What's the issue? Well, you didn't use your signal back there, and I see why now, is you have a light out on that left side.
Thompson says he will give French a warning, goes back to his patrol unit, runs the driver's license, and returns to French's vehicle with the warning and asks him to get out so he can show him what he's talking about. And for his protection, Thompson says, he's going to pat him down real quick.
No, I'm just not comfortable with people touching me. Well, I hate it for you, but my safety is paramount, okay?
That's when everything changed.
Listen to me.
Come on.
A struggle. Thompson threatens to tase French, who then pushes Thompson to the ground and takes off running.
Got one run towards.
They meet at the other side of the house. There's a collision. French is tased. Another struggle. French wrestles the taser from Thompson and uses it on the officer. Thompson pulls his firearm and fires. According to court documents, 7 shots were fired, 5 of them hitting French. Thompson later describing the final moments before the gunfire.
Grabbed my hands on my taser and turned it and ended up powering my taser out of my hand and turned it back on me and tased me once. And then as I tried to get back up, he pointed it back at me like he was coming to me. And I shot him.
The video has been kept from public view since the shooting. The French family, law enforcement, and attorneys had already seen the footage. Andrew Rutan represents Thompson in the city of Bay Minette and released a statement to News 5 that says in part, this was done in acknowledgement of the sensitive nature of the video and to protect the investigation and related court proceedings. It was also done to protect the officer involved from further threats to him and his family. The city sought to keep the video sealed with the U.S. District Court. A 10-count civil lawsuit has been filed in federal court on behalf of the French family that includes claims of illegal traffic stop, excessive force, and wrongful death. A motion to dismiss the lawsuit has not been ruled on yet.
Right? I'm just not gonna say anything right now because I saw some stuff that kind of disturbing to me. But let me go with Dave and Jim and D.
Man, the brother died. He died. And it was his fault. I mean, just be still. He said he's going to give you a warning. Why you run? If he didn't, and also they ran him for a warrant, didn't he? He had to run his information. He said he checked out. He's going to give him a warning, right? So I guess he checked out when you ran him.
Yeah.
Why he run? Now this was in Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah. Now maybe I don't know what the department's like down there, but I know I still have cousins on my mom's side down there, and they never get the benefit of the doubt down there. But this brother could have lived to tell his story. And then the cop got tased. And you know what, man? I don't know, man. A lot of these cops, man, not for nothing. I don't like to say, bad stuff, but a lot of them can't fight for shit no more. We ain't have no tasers. We ain't have no tasers. I don't give a damn how you could have been down a Butler's fight. I know I was a wrestling champion. I'm kicking your arm or your legs. Damn. A lot of them just can't fight for shit no more. They can eat like a damn hog though, but they can't fight for shit. But I just think that brother, man, I'm bothered by it.
On a serious note, I don't think I've ever been pushed down.
Thank you.
I think
Don, you know me. I'm short. I'm right now. I'm 230. I was 225, 209 on my 23 years in the department. Stop. Ain't nobody ever put me on the ground.
No, not push you down. You may get flipped and thrown. I never got pushed down.
Doc, at 50 years old, I was doing powerlifting championships in Pittsburgh when I was there for 7 years. I ain't never got pushed down like that, man. I don't like to criticize. I'm like, damn, man, that kid should still be alive. Yeah, you slapping around, give him a summons, okay. But damn, I just can't believe. I'm like, God damn, nobody can fight no more. What's going on? The kids can't fight. Cops can't fight. Shit. Maybe need some OGs to teach them how to fight. I don't know. Shit.
All right, AC. Dave. Let me go with Jim and D.
I'm going to take a different viewpoint here. Although we've talked about this 100 times, if you comply, you'll live. Okay. But how many times have we discussed on this show how a simple traffic stop turns into a disaster like this?
Right.
This guy was pulled over. He had a broken taillight. He was getting a warning. The cop come over to hand him his warning. I don't know why the heck he's going to get him out of his car.
No idea.
Why the heck that he's patting him down. He's not arresting him. And then the guy runs. Who the heck knows? Maybe he has autism and he doesn't like being touched. I don't know why he ran, but he ran and he's dead. Sad. I mean, to me, this whole thing started right from the stop. Why did he take him out of his car? Hand him his warning. Hand him his warning, and everybody listened. So I do agree. Comply. But sometimes, what? It's just the whole thing was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%, Jim. I'm like, as many car stops as I made, I don't need you out of the car.
No.
Not if I've done what I'm going to do in my car already, and I'm writing you a warning, and I'm handing you a warning. Shoot, no. I'm giving you this warning, and we both are out of here.
Go.
But listen, I had to say that because I did thousands of car stops, and I didn't want you out the car unless I needed you out of the car.
No.
That's the first thing. I didn't need to explain anything to you outside of the car. I just didn't need to. You're there. Everything's been good so far. You got a warning. We both should be walking away from here.
Hey
But
there.
let me go with D, Rich, and Derek.
Let me say this. The idea for us in our law enforcement careers was to avoid any loss of life. And I know there's some things I say on other shows, and I'll probably say on this show that seem a little harsh. And I think this is the reason I did my 32 years the way I did my 32 years. Is things got to make sense. You guys are absolutely right. I've never issued a warning. So I don't understand the warning protocol. Maybe some of you other warning protocol officers can, if I stopped you, I'm either going to write you a ticket or I'm going to let you go. It's that
one or the other. Exactly.
After I decide to write you a warning, you want to get out of the car. But I can't really speak to that because I didn't patrol that way. So maybe there's something in their policy that says they have to show the person what they're giving them a warning for. But then what's the point of giving them a warning? But that's just me.
Write the ticket.
And let me say this. I always say I say things one time, and I'm going to act as though the stop was proper.
Boy,
we have to do our job in a way that if you're going to handcuff somebody, you handcuff them. Right? I don't understand this. Wait, hold it. We talk about people not being able to fight, knocking you. It doesn't happen. I did 32 years. In my last month and a half, I was actually on the Southern State Parkway doing a stop. You don't put yourself in a position where you're not in control and you're not able to handle a situation. Now, we got a lot of lunch money victims. We got a lunch money victim in the White House. I said it. We got lunch money victims. And that's what they're hiring right now. But our kids are lunch money victims. So when you have lunch money victim on lunch money victim crime, somebody's going to lose their life. See, we weren't lunch money victim to lunch money victim. So when we had a battle, we lived to talk about it tomorrow. 30 years later, we live to make jokes about it. That's the way you want to. Tough is tough until tough is required. Let me
Hello.
say, everybody's tough until tough is required. Tough is not pulling out your taser and your. I can count the times in 32 years the gun was out of the holster. It's not something that was normal or I used to bring somebody under control, and I think that's the problem.
Right.
We're taking the stuff on our belt. We used to have no less lethal. Y'all remember? Anybody here remember no less lethal? Where you either shot him or here we go around the mulberry bush. There was no steps in all of this stuff. So a lot of times in our enforcement, we was going around the mulberry bush. And Don says it, I can't lose. I'm gonna let you know. Anybody, I'm not losing a fight. So let's handle it from that perspective. And I don't think our law enforcement now is handling it from that perspective. There's all this negotiation. There's all this back and forth. You don't get to say nothing on my stop. This is not a democracy to stop. This is a dictatorship. You sit there. Now you can go. This is democracy. We don't get to talk about. Don't put the cuffs on too tight.
Discussing it.
Loosen the cuffs. Don't tase me. What? My brain goes crazy when I hear these things because I'm like, what are you talking about? What
you watch too much TV, D.
Dude, I see you in 2028 school. You're running for president. I don't give a damn what you say.
on that, I'm going to end on that.
Well, listen. Let me get okay, Mark. Let me get Mark, and then let me get CJ because CJ has some stuff she got to give us too.
Yeah, Will can probably speak on it better because I think North Carolina issues warning tickets. New York doesn't. That's why we don't. We either give a verbal warning or we issue a ticket. But I don't know what the protocol is for the warning tickets. It may be to show that the officer is actually engaging in a stop. I don't really know. That's the department's policy and that municipality's policy. So Will could probably speak better on why. And then Donald, you brought up a good point. Maybe when you do give a warning ticket, you have to have the person come out to see what the violation is, so you don't say the officer pulled me over for nothing. But Will could probably speak on that better.
Well, Will, you have something to say on that? You can if you
Yeah,
do.
yeah. Actually, we do give warning tickets, particularly for regulatory violations such as this was. And what happens with that is it gives the driver or the operator of the car, the owner of the car, an opportunity to repair or take care of that regulatory issue. They have another officer inspect it, sign off on that warning ticket, and then you return that warning ticket to the agency that issued the ticket to you. So it's basically non-court resolution to the situation, while at the same time encouraging compliance in a regulatory violation. With regards to the whole scenario, what bothers me most about this is our first tool is our ability to communicate. And I truly believe, listening to that had he approached the car, and this is what he didn't say, he just told him, I need you to get out the car. Now, most people, when you think about something that minor, and all of a sudden the officer's asking you to get out the car without explanation, your radar goes way up. And as officers, we may not realize that's an escalation in that situation. It's not a de-escalation. But had he said, I'm just going to give you a warning ticket, this is what you need to do, I'd like to ask you to step out of the car so I can show you what the violation is. And the guy could easily have said, I take you for your word, officer. You give me the ticket, I'll get it taken care of. And that should have been that. But the fact that it escalated to that point when the guy didn't want to get out the car, just the simple fact he doesn't want to get out the car is not reasonable suspicion. And it certainly is not probable cause. So if you were going to give him a warning, he says, I don't need to look at it, or he didn't even tell him why he wanted him to get out the car. The officer says, the gentleman says he doesn't want to get out the car. Unless you have independent, reasonable suspicion of probable cause, that's supposed to be the end of it. And in my observation and estimation, the officer unnecessarily escalated that situation to where what was and if it had been another gun involved or some other underlying crime that was evident by what was in the car, you can better believe they would have already said that, and they haven't. So the guy just simply did not want to get out the car, and I can imagine a lot of people feel that way because they feel like it's about to escalate. The car is a safety place for them.
Thank you, Will. CJ?
First of all, okay, so I'm a New York police, North Carolina resident. I have yet to be pulled over for a quote unquote warning ticket, if you will. But from what Will just gave, it appears that their warning tickets is our 375s.
Right.
Okay,
right.
so we give a 375 and they have 24 hours to fix it.
Correction form.
And unless it's over the weekend. And then another officer can sign off on the fact that, P.O. Smith did sign off on P.O. Jackson's ticket and the violation has been corrected. That was one of the things that I wanted to, after Mark invited Will to the table, I figured I'd commandeer, but I came back for Alabama. I'm sorry, for our viewers' comments. Dave said, Marcus said to Dave that something happened during that pat down. Cop made him flinch playing for the camera. He also says that the guy was unarmed. He thought later on and said, I thought a bunch of yous were detectives. Right on, Jim. He came back and says that when is deadly force against an unarmed person legal outside of Alabama? Richard Bowden states that when I lived in North Carolina, you had about 14 days to correct a warning ticket, i.e. a busted tail light, loud exhaust, etc. You had to show the ticket to another cop and have him sign off that it was corrected and you mailed the warning in. Marcus comes back with another comment and says, I thought he readily got out the car, didn't like the pat down, told the officer he didn't like anyone touching him, and pat down almost looked like it was escalating to an arrest. So and also if you've seen the fact that in the guy approached, when he first approached him, he approached him from the passenger door. When he came back to the driver's side and then asked the guy to step out the vehicle. And nowadays, with all the black, I want to call them residents, black residents of any city, state, or village, they are becoming victims. And so, rightfully so, I'm afraid to get out of vehicle now if an officer tells me to get out. So I want to know why do you want me out of the vehicle? I'm going to ask you. That in itself may escalate to another situation, because how dare I question you as a police officer?
Right.
And that therein lies most of the problems. We feel as cops we shouldn't be questioned. We're the ones doing the questioning. We want to know where you're going, where you've been, how long you've been there, where you're going, and when you're coming back. And then if you don't answer our questions, then now we're up to escalation status, right, Dave? I'm messing with Dave, y'all. I'm sorry.
All right.
And Dave says, I'm sorry, Marcus says, especially black residents of Alabama.
That's what I wanted to say.
Listen, Marcus is on point today, y'all. Y'all see what
Yes,
Marcus said.
yes.
Yeah, he is.
Marcus riding down the right street today.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah.
You're not fighting with Rich.
He said he ain't thinking about Rich. Let me go with Rich. Rich.
Yeah. Hey, I got on. Listen, a lot of the thunder's been stolen, but I want to get back to the point. It's Alabama. Okay? It's Alabama. Not all law enforcement officers in Alabama, but you know the climate in Alabama. Now, obviously, this officer taking this individual out of the car is a fishing expedition. There was no reason to do that other than that. So the guy didn't want to be touched. He goes, I don't care about you being, whatever the way you are about being touched. I'm going to do it for my safety. And the whole thing escalated. Yeah, him getting pushed down. Watching him explain what happened with the taser didn't sound right to me. So he started talking about what happened with the taser exchange and how that guy got it from him, and he had to shoot him 5 times. His explanation was very suspect to me. So the whole thing is just foul. And, the bottom line is, in the South, I know you got to listen to the officer, but do everything you can just to stay in the car on an equipment violation. It's ridiculous. And I want to say there's a difference between a warning ticket and a fix-it ticket. Now, we talk about fix-it tickets, where you write the ticket on whatever the equipment violation is or whatever, and another officer to sign it off later on, and it's a lesser amount that you have to pay. You just pay the processing fee, which is $10 here, or whatever it was here in California. But a warning ticket, you can also just a written warning. Officers do here in California as to show a certain amount of activity. So when you're making stops, you write a warning ticket. If you're not going to give them a ticket, NTA, a notice to appear, showing your activity. And I don't, it's different in every department, but that was on my department. That was warning ticket. It was fixed tickets, 2 different things. So
Okay, that
just
makes
breaking
sense.
that down.
I never heard that before, but I thought that, they were one and the same, but you just said 2 different things, which is, like I said, different departments, different policies.
Yeah,
it's different. Will your hand go up again?
it did, and y'all forgive me. It's just my first day. It's a lot. I got stopped for speeding by a deputy. I was on my way to work, and because I was in my personal car, I wasn't in uniform, but I had my credentials and I had my duty weapon with me. He stopped me and told me why he stopped me. And ordinarily, I don't flash badge or anything because I need for you to deal with me as an individual, as a human being. I'm not looking for that courtesy thing because I want to see what your character's going to be. Exactly. And not to mention, I don't trust how the outcome is going to go when you see this large, bald-headed black man with a gun in the car, because the attitude changes. But he stopped me, and because I was on my way to work and I had my gun in the car, ID, credentials, everything. This deputy proceeded to order me out of the car to the back of the car, put my hands on the trunk, and proceeds to go through my bag, which is now an illegal search, to retrieve my duty weapon for the duration of the stop. Now, he already knew who I was. Now, if that happened to me as a sworn law enforcement officer, what chance does a civilian have?
Exactly.
And think about it. I have the right to resist unlawful search and seizure. But how does that end if I resist?
Yeah.
Because he ain't dealing with Joe Schmo. So under the circumstances, it could go either way. But that's kind of where I am with this. And when folks say, well, what are the best practices? I'm like, pray. Because I don't know that there's a such thing as best practices anymore. If somebody has a bias or preconceived notion about who they're dealing with at that moment in time,
you're right.
Trying to bring them back around is like ice skating uphill.
Boy, and you're right. You're 100% right. I'm gonna keep mine here. Go with Derek.
Yeah.
AC. Derek and AC.
And Rich, if I could show you my notes, Rich, you basically said all the stuff that I wrote down.
Which was important.
The removal from the vehicle is to extend the stop and have a fishing expedition. That's normally what it's for. They're just looking for some way that they can get you on something. And obviously, they don't have enough, or they wouldn't be pulling you from the vehicle. And the warning tickets are for activity. On many departments, they're for activity. Like when we would transit, there were times where we would throw people out of the train station. That's called an ejection. And our ejections were actually written out on an aided card, and aided like for medical aided. But aided, our ejections counted as activity. So it gave you the same type of activity as if you wrote a ticket. And I've actually received a written warning down here in North Carolina for speeding. So, so I know it's not just something other than activity, because, if you're going to give somebody a break, why write it up if there's nothing to it? I was also told by an officer over here, if you get 2 warnings in a 6-month period and you get stopped the 3rd time, you will not get a warning. So it definitely counts as activity. And on to what I think it was Dave. Someone was saying, no, it was Dave who was saying there's a lot of cops basically they can't fight, and we've all seen it. Everyone that's law enforcement has seen it firsthand. And some of them have the biggest mouths. Some of them are the most boisterous. And as soon as shit goes down, they're standing behind everybody. They stand behind everybody. They try not to get their hands dirty. As soon as you get somebody on the ground, then they'll come over and get a blow or 2 in. But they're not the one trying to initiate any contact, but they're the ones with the biggest mouths. They always start
something. Save my ass.
Always talking shit, and they're the most disrespectful people. But they can't put their hands. And we all know who they are. We've seen them. Sometimes they get their behinds kicked, and when they do, we all secretly cheer. So.
No lies detected.
0.
Right. Hey, AC.
Okay. I'm one of those cops that don't like to fight. But I say it's the same. When you use great police tactics, you save lives. You stop people from getting hurt. You stop yourself from getting hurt. So I say I like to fight. I understand that police work can be, ugly at sometimes, and sometimes you gotta get ugly to get it done right. I understand that you can't run away from that. But good police tactics stops that from happening in lives.
All right, DJ, and then we'll go to the next video, and then we'll start bringing it in.
Okay, I want to get in Donald Coleman's statement because he wrote it a minute ago. And he says, D, I was stopped on the Southern State Parkway a long time ago. I'm sure it wasn't you. He said he was, I'm sorry, he was riding his motorcycle and he was pulled over by a black trooper. I don't think it was you. He said, I was changing lanes, which I wasn't. The officer said he was changing lanes, which he wasn't. When I pull over on an incline, he told me to, I'm sorry, y'all. He told me to, I lost my place, one moment,
Get
to
off
get
the
off the
motorcycle.
motorcycle. I said, if I do, the motorcycle will fall
fall
over.
over.
He then asked for my license and insurance. He took my license, he looked at my license, and then said, I see that you are correct, that I did have a motorcycle license. I think that he was just checking to see if I had one because most riders don't.
No, right.
Marcus also comments that I'm surprised the cop didn't address him as a boy. Marcus also states that chance that 5 out of 7 find its target. And Marcus also says biggest mouth and itchy fingers. So these are kind of delayed responses, except for biggest mouth and itchy fingers. So you guys get it, where address it where it falls into play, where we were talking at the time. It's kind of hard to read their comments while we continue on. So just remember that part.
Welcome
And when
to
I
the
get my
club.
turn.
Welcome, CJ. I told you, CJ, put your hand up.
I've
Because
been putting my hand. Oh, you want me to put my real hand up?
yeah, your real
Okay.
hand. that way I know to shortcut some of the stuff and put you up front to get those comments.
Okay, I got you. But look,
Right.
last week I couldn't use the automated hand. This
I
week
know.
I find out how to use it.
and now you can't stop using it. All right, let me go with
Put your hand up to just spray me in the eye. Put your hand up to just
I'm
spray
gonna
me in the
spray
eye.
you again, okay? You're next.
Hey, D.
Yes, sir.
I don't think that other video, if it's coming up with the FBI, we're gonna have enough time to really give.
Yeah, that's I was gonna cut it if Don wanted to go to it. It's about 6 minutes long, and it's actually
It's up to you guys. We got 9 minutes.
Next week.
You got 9 minutes. Go ahead, shoot it, D.
I say next week because it's gonna be a big.
You can't talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, you remember y'all said you don't put up ask a question in the last 2 minutes. So by the time that video is over,
get him, Will. Get him.
Get him, Will.
Will is learning real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, quick. Did you ever shoot somebody in the pinky toe? Do you ever shoot a woman in the pinky toe? Quick.
You know what this is a good time for, guys? I don't know.
No, but I am looking for the doctor though.
Yeah, I talked to you guys earlier about a Crockett Pocket. Anybody?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Anybody okay with a Crockett Pocket right now?
Yes.
We won't really have to discuss this, but so Jasmine Crockett is a congresswoman from
You scared
me. And now in the news, everybody wants this administration to be held accountable. Nobody does it like her. So I think if Don lets it, every week I'm gonna have a Crockett Pocket. Just
bring it.
Check this out.
Recognizes Miss Crockett from Texas.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and thank you so much to our mayors that are here. And I really quickly want to touch on something because I know that many of you prepared for today's hearing by making sure that you got a little bit of information about immigrants and crime in your cities. Let me ask each of the mayors, just yes or no. Have any of you been made aware of any immigrant that has had 34 felony convictions that has still been able to roam around in your cities? Anyone?
No, ma'am.
34 felony convictions. No, from the immigrants. Anybody?
I'm not aware.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious because we are so concerned about crime, and I know that my Republican colleagues would never want anybody with 34 felony convictions roaming around because that could be a danger to the community, but I will move on. The Republicans put more effort into producing their little propaganda trailer for this hearing than they have into reforming America's immigration system. And that's why we're here today. In fact, Republicans are beating up on the vast majority of you about what you're doing for your citizens, but the last time I checked, you're actually showing up. You may or may not be aware, but the NRCC just instructed Republicans to stop their town hall meetings because their constituents were showing up and telling them to do your jobs. If I had to sum up some of what you have said thus far today, I would sum it up as you have been trying to tell them as politely as you can to do their jobs. In fact, we know that they have not done their jobs, and so they're trying to force you to do it for them by turning your local law enforcement officers into ICE agents. they have this fake outrage about how immigrants are stealing resources and jobs from Americans when residents of Boston, Chicago, New York City, and Denver are subsidizing public services in their districts and their states because the Republicans refuse to ensure that their constituents earn a livable wage. Look, they don't have a plan to fix immigration in America because they don't want to. Mass deportation isn't a plan. Arresting kids in schools or worshipers in church isn't a plan. But there are important points to discuss as it relates to immigration in America. So, Mr. Beer, in January, you testified before the Judiciary Subcommittee on Immigration, Integrity, Security, and Enforcement. During that hearing, we played a little game called Rhetoric or Reality. Do you remember that?
I remember, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead for round two. Why don't we? Rhetoric or reality? Immigrants are a burden to the American taxpayers because they deplete our federal resources.
That would be rhetoric.
Correct. In fact, the Congressional Budget Office estimates that immigrants will lower U.S. deficits by a cumulative $1 trillion and increase the U.S. economy's size by nearly $9 trillion over 10 years. Is that correct?
That is correct.
In 2023, 47 million immigrants paid nearly $652 billion in taxes, $58.1 billion in taxes alone into Texas. Rhetoric or reality? During his first administration, Trump improved enforcement of U.S. immigration laws.
He did not.
In fact, President Trump closed almost all immigration courts for removal proceedings, cut prosecutions for unauthorized entry by 87%, cut ICE removals to the lowest level in the history of the agency, and released 9,000 people with violent crime convictions back into our communities. Is that correct?
That's right. Yes.
So rhetoric or reality? President Trump's immigration policies make American communities safer.
No, they don't make communities safer.
In fact, nearly 100,000 unauthorized immigrants have obtained legal status through their cooperation with law enforcement. And local law enforcement agencies have more than 300,000 pending requests for immigrants seeking legal status based upon their cooperation with law enforcement, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Is that correct?
That's right. Immigrants work with law enforcement to stop and solve crimes.
Thank you. That was one of my rhetoric or reality questions. Sorry. The question was immigrants without legal status can help stop crime. That's correct.
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
All right. And Mr. Beer, isn't it true that Republicans are threatening to illegally strip cities of law enforcement grants intended for local policing and public safety if they don't go along with Trump's immigration agenda?
That's right. They want to redistribute the fiscal burden onto the Democratic cities and away from the Republican ones.
Which brings me to my next point. Mayor Adams, do you believe that President Trump is weaponizing the Department of Justice against local governments like New York City?
As I stated publicly.
Gotta love her.
What I say?
Thank you for the question, Congresswoman. And as I indicated previously, this case is in front of Judge Ho, and I'm going to allow the judicial process to go forward.
Well, let me ask it a different way. There was a quote from Mr. Well, he had to get advice. So can I just get a...
What's that?
He was getting advice. So can I get a little bit of time? I didn't interrupt while he was getting advice.
Because they were advising it.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is the last one. There was a quote from Mr. Homan, I believe, where he said he will be in your office and up your butt if there was a problem with whatever agreement. We don't know what it was. My question to you, I know you've been asked about it a couple of times today, is was he lying when he said that you made an agreement that would cause him to be up your butt if you failed to uphold your end of it?
And gentle time expired, but it's a bear.
That is the Jasmine Crockett.
Wow. Go ahead, Jim. Go ahead, Jim, because I know we all have a lot to say about that.
I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to do this.
Boy, that's a strong delta there.
Yeah.
Love my
Wow.
sorry.
Wow. Yeah. Go ahead, CJ.
I just want to ask you guys, and then I'm just putting it out there. Do you guys think with all the job layoffs that him and Elon are projected to do, along with cutting Social Security. Do you guys feel that this law enforcement department that we have now may be under a lot of stress? I think there's going to be a lot of blue collar crime, initiating with all these outside agencies everybody being let off from their jobs.
I think one of those military guys who just lost that damn job or lost benefits through the VA, I think, and who have issues coming back from the war, they're gonna go off.
About to go postal.
Okay, all right.
I'm sorry, I want to get Melba in here too, real quick.
Sorry. I just want to say that I think that above and beyond blue collar crime, CJ, crime in general is about to explode because you have cut services for those that are in need, and now you have cut jobs from people who thought they were safe, and now they're in need of those services. So you don't have services and you don't have wages, but you still need to eat and feed your families.
And when eggs are $15 a dozen, and you done took my job from me,
what happens?
Who's going to eat? I'm going to go and steal them damn eggs.
I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna steal some eggs. I'm gonna steal some milk.
Yes.
Listen, you and everybody in law enforcement on this panel has pulled cheese, meat, and all other sundry of grocery items out of pants. Okay, all right, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So, Karen, don't scream when you get caught in the grocery line and pulled into that little room with all the cameras where they had you. And they were able to see what you were doing, where you needed all that mascara, and thought a steak down the front of your pants was a good idea because you was hungry. But you're not like those people, right? You're not those people.
Come on, Mel. I just wanted to know if anybody else felt like, I see the writing on the wall. And like you said, it's not just blue collar, but crime is going to increase because people are going to want to feed their families.
About to get three hot to the
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. It's 4:32. Man Adams did not put his foot in his mouth. He just shut it down.
He just showed his whole ass. That's all he did.
He wanted no smoke.
No, he wanted none of that.
He needs all the smoke.
Let's see, Karen Caffey, Sister Ruth Caffey's daughter, Dave. She says, Reverend Butler, your oldest member is 96.5 years of age. Everybody knows that she is unavailable on Thursdays so that she can watch you and her popo and hear from Dave, AC, etc. So AC, you just joined the list, man. you just joined the list. Listen, guys, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being with us, especially you on Facebook, Facebook Live. Thank you so much. Richard Bowden, thank you. Donald Coleman, thank you. Beverly Wells, thank you. Karen Caffey, Ruth Caffey, thank you. Marcus Diggs, thank you so much. Donald Coleman, I think I said already. Eva, Pamela Frost, Eric Jones, somebody named Sylvia Butler, Renee Henderson. Again, there was some other names that was on here. Pamela Frost, Shirley, Eric Jones. I'm just trying to skip through real fast.
You mentioned Beverly Halston Wells.
Beryl McMillan. I did do Beverly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Beryl McMillan, thank you. And then you guys that's on this panel, thank you so much. Claudine Hall, Chanel Butler, Isabel Jordan, thank you so much. Listen, our wives don't have to listen to us. We talk so much while we're at home, but they join our show. So I thank them for joining the show. My wife said, I'm your supporter. Don't forget, I support you in everything when I was coming downstairs to get this thing going. I support you. I said, all right. Thank you so much.
Ask Sylvia, she okay with me preaching a sermon in the church?
Oh, she all right. Wow. She all right. She over there pinching me. She over there pinching me on the back. Talking about, when you gonna let him do it? When you gonna let him do it? Because you know Dave gonna slip up and give you one of those 4-letter words.
The other cussing preacher.
Listen, we're out of time. We're out of time, and I would go to a good boy, but we're out of time, and we don't have time to discuss it. Thank you so much to our panel. Will, thank you. You had a lot of input today. Thank you. You seem to be learning how we do things behind
Love
the
you
scenes.
guys.
We got Jim. Thank you, Kyle. And listen, Kyle's gonna sit there and just wait. And when the time's right, Kyle's gonna throw one at you. So thank you, Kyle, for being there. She just wants to make sure we're not sitting over here making too many mistakes.
At all.
Right now, sir.
Keep our butts out of jail.
we need that. Ty, Rich, Cheech, Melba, Derek, CJ. CJ, thank you. You helped me out a whole lot. You know, that's your new assignment.
You got it. You got it.
Mark, AC, and D. D's always our tech guy. He makes sure everything is moving with our tech, with our sound. So thank you so much. Anyone has anything to say before we go? Cheech, keep that hand down. Keep that hand down. All right, let us pray. God, our Father, we thank you again for allowing us to come together. Allow us to talk about what's taking place in our communities. We're praying to God for law enforcement. We're praying to God for our communities, praying to God for our families and our friends, that everyone will walk away safely and everyone will get home. We're praying to God that you will continue to be with us as we continue to bring news and recognition to things that's going on in our communities. We thank you for those who are on Facebook Live that join us each and every week. We thank you now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
You guys on Facebook.